Hey guys, Naeem here, and I am excited that you're joining me. So what is this? What are we doing here? Well, it's No Church Sunday, and I just thought it'd be great to just share a little devotional with you as you prepare your hearts and your minds of what God has for you in 2019. Now, I don't know what happened in 2018. I know for me, the year didn't start really great, but God began to move and did some really amazing things that I need to remember. And I'm looking forward to 2019. And so what I want to do is just share a couple of scriptures with you about what God might have for you and what you might be wanting to think about as you get ready for 2019. What are you thinking about? Do you have any dreams, ideas? I don't know what you have, and no one really knows what 2019 is going to end with. And when we celebrate 2020, where you're going to be and how your life's going to look like. But I do know that we need to prepare our minds, our hearts for it. So just recently, I spent some time with our staff, and I was talking about this idea of remembering things. And it actually came about because I saw a picture of Asher doing something so goofy. And this was like about, I don't know, maybe 7 years ago. And it kind of came up on Facebook or something, or someone sent it to me. And I thought, wow, has time flown? But that picture reminded me of that moment. And I love the fact that we can capture pictures. Like Instagram, is good for something. It captures moments, special moments that we can remember how we felt in that very moment, or how maybe even, things worked out for us, and maybe how God worked in our lives. Well, back in the day, they didn't have Instagram, they didn't have photographs, but they did have this practice of setting up memorial stones to remember God's faithfulness. In fact, it talks about this idea about an Ebenezer stone. And so with my staff, and I talked about these stones. I mean, I shared what the scriptures talk about, and they're not any special stones, they're just regular stones, but they signified certain things. So I gave stones away to our staff, and I just wrote 2018, and I read a passage of scripture for them, and I want to read that to you, and maybe you can kind of share that and kind of discuss that after this devotional is done. But it's found in 1 Samuel chapter 7, verses 7 through, about 13. Yeah, 7 through 13. So let me read to you. It says, when the Philistines rulers heard that Israel had gathered at Mizpah, they mobilized their army and advanced. The Israelites were badly frightened when they learned that the Philistines were approaching. So basically what's happening is you got the Israelites and the Philistines at war, and the Israelites are scared to death, but they know that God could possibly be on their side. So they solicit a guy named, he was a prophet named Samuel. So they go to him, and the next verse says, don't stop pleading with the Lord our God to save us from the Philistines. They begged Samuel. Verse 9. So Samuel took a young lamb and offered it to the Lord as a whole burnt offering. He pleaded with the Lord to help Israel, and the Lord answered him. Just as Samuel was sacrificing the burnt offering, the Philistines arrived to attack Israel. But the Lord spoke with a mighty voice of thunder from heaven that day, and the Philistines were thrown into such confusion that the Israelites defeated them. And that's kind of crazy to think about that. Verse 11, it says, the men of Israel chased them from Mizpah to a place below Bethkar, slaughtering them all along the way. I mean, it's pretty graphic. Verse 12, it says, Samuel then took a large stone, I'm assuming it's bigger than this one, large stone, and placed it between the towns of Mizpah and, it says, I think this is Jeshana. He named it Ebenezer, which means the stone of help. For he said, up to this point the Lord has helped us. So the Philistines were subdued and didn't invade Israel again for some time. And throughout Samuel's lifetime, the Lord's powerful hand was raised against the Philistines. Now, basically what happened is that God moved on their behalf, and they took stones and they made them memorials to remember. And this is where we get this idea of an Ebenezer stone. You set a stone at a place, or you keep it with you, and it signifies something. In fact, in other passages, they talked about they would set up these altars with these stones as an altar to the Lord, like to God. Here's my question. What happened in 2018 that you need to remember? I'm not talking about the bad stuff. Like I said, 2018 didn't really start really well for me. We experienced a death in our family, and it looked like 2018 was going to just go bad. It started bad. We thought it would end bad, and it didn't. It didn't. In the midst of that, God moved among my family, myself, within Mosaic, and so I just encouraged my own heart and the hearts of our staff to take a physical stone and to think about the miracle that God did among us. So, what is the miracle that God has done among you, your family, your friends in 2018? I think it's so important for us to stop and focus on the fact that God is with us, and to remember that we have to set up a memorial, a way to remember God's faithfulness. Because I believe that if you remember God's faithfulness, then you will actually have the faithfulness and the faith-filledness, if that's a word, to actually step into all that God has for you. See, at times, to be filled with faith, we have to remember God's faithfulness to us. And so, what is for you, for your family, the miracle that God did? As I asked our staff, there were stories about a career choice, a calling in people's lives, a healing that took place, just some miracles. It doesn't have to be a miracle for everybody, but it's a miracle for you. What was a miracle for you? And would you set up a Ebenezer stone? Would you even physically carry one? Maybe go around the room and ask someone and ask each other, hey, what has God done among us that we need to remember as we leave 2018 and step into 2019? So I just want to leave you with this. As a family, as friends, maybe you're just sitting there with your pet. What does God have for you? And what are you not remembering? Because I believe that you have to set up some kind of memories. Maybe it's a scrapbook of all the God things that you've experienced. Maybe it is Instagram posts that you will set as Ebenezer stones. But what would it look like for your family? I encourage you, let's get creative. Let's think about ways to set up these Ebenezer stone moments to remember God's faithfulness. Sometimes it's all about remembering God's faithfulness that gives us the fuel, the hope that we need to step into what God has for us. Hey, I hope this has blessed you. I know that I've been encouraged by just the Ebenezer stones in my life, and so I'm hoping they'll do the same for you. Hey, we'll see you 2019. Have a great week. Love you guys.